So, you're thinking of getting into the Discworld series of books written by Terry Pratchett. The question most often asked is where to start, and that's a very, very good question, because a lot of these books are separated into series, and there are obviously books within the Discworld series that are solely self-contained novels. But even then, some of these self-contained novels I wouldn't recommend to someone who was just getting started. Even now, the very first book of the Discworld series, The Colour of Magic, I wouldn't recommend to someone without saying at least purchase the Light Fantastic as well and read them as one novel rather than two separate ones. So today I'm going to make to you and make my case, my recommendation to you, if you want to get into the Discworld series of books, then you have to look at what is lovingly called the moist books. Yes, moist, not because they are wet, but because of the title character that they follow. The the rogue, the charlatan, the thief, the Postmaster General, Mr. Money, the Deputy Chairman of the Royal Bank of Ankh-Morpork, the Master of the Royal Mint, and of course Mr. Railway himself, Moist von Lipwig. So, who is Moist von Lipwig, and where to start? Well, you start at the beginning, and that is in his first appearance in Going Postal. Now, Going Postal itself is a really, really good book, and it essentially shows how change can happen, and that is a theme constantly through all the three books, because Moist brings in change to the Discworld setting and saga. You could say that Moist brings the fantasy world of Ankh-Morpork from being a Renaissance affair to almost an industrial age, and certainly where it ends in the final book, Raising Steam. But with Going Postal, it's all about sending letters. You could say that Going Postal is Terry Pratchett's love letter to, well, letters. You could easily see that the clack system that he is, fighting against can easily be an allegory to emails or texting. So, is it worth a read? Absolutely. It is the best place to start if you want to get into Discworld itself, but also have a really good introduction to what is a small and pretty good series. And the follow-up book, Making Money, a couple of years ago I would have said to you, Making Money is the worst of the series. However, on a trip to Japan, I purchased all three audiobooks of the series, and now Making Money is my favourite audiobook. I don't know how to explain it, but reading it, I'm going back to it even after that, I'm still like, but listening to it on audiobook, I don't know, it has somehow made it more, I don't know, alive and better to me. But essentially the quick overviewing of the story is Moist is essentially bored in his position as the Postmaster General of Ankh-Morpork, and Lord Vetinari, the leader and patrician of the city, decides that Moist needs a new challenge. And, well, the challenge he is given is running and modernising the banking system of Ankh-Morpork. Now, that might sound boring, but Pratchett does it in such a way that it is humorous, comical, and quite frankly a success. I still recommend reading the book, definitely. So, go ahead, but, the audiobooks read by Stephen Briggs of this series are really, really good. So if you like audiobooks, then I recommend getting them. And the final book of the series, Raising Steam, is exactly that. And if anything, it shows really what the massive change something like railways could do. You know, today we take things like travel and railway for granted, but in the book, in the world, things like that have never existed. And Terry Pratchett does an amazing job describing the change that it brings to society and the new connections and changes that, you know, railways and, you know, in a way, travel itself can bring to someone. You know, one of the quotes from the book is, we go looking to find ourselves, but we end up finding someone else. And that is an absolutely beautiful quote. It's how many times have you gone and travelled by yourself or something like that, and you've met other people. And you've had those experiences with those other people. And that is what Terry Pratchett does amazingly well in this book. And ranking the series, at one time I would have, as I've said, ranked the series in, you know, Going Postal, Raising Steam, Making Money. Now, I certainly couldn't rank them in any order. There are certainly low points and high points throughout all three books, but undoubtedly, you should go and just read them. I cannot express that if you are looking for a way into the Discworld novels, the Moist von Lipwig series is the way to go. So, have you read the Moist books? What do you think to them? Do you think, you know, some of the allegories in Going Postal, between, you know, letter writing to texting, has it made you what Terry Pratchett originally set out to do? Was, having read that book, has it made you write a letter to someone? So that's my overview, shall we say, of the Moist von Lipwig series. A great series of books written by a great author.